I think it's a hugely influential and important movie because it brought back zombie movies and like post-apocalyptic movies in a huge way. Welcome back. It's Movie of the Week. We're doing a movie episode. It's been a while. We've been doing like all the short episodes and stuff.
Didn't we just do a movie episode?
We did To Live and Die in LA like a month ago. And then we Gladiator 2 like a month before that.
No, but like, what was the last thing we recorded?
It was short episodes, like brackets and stuff.
What was before that? Live and Die in LA?
No, that was like a month ago.
Oh.
That's unbelievable. It can't remember anything.
I don't even remember important stuff.
That's not important to you?
Nah.
My name is Daddy, a.k.a. Fat Boy, a.k.a. Will.
My name's Hog, a.k.a. Hog Daddy, Hogzilla. Pig is Hog.
The podcast is called Movie of the Week. The cable is called Hog and Daddy.
Channel's called Hog and Daddy.
They're kind of not. And different manifestations of the same concept.
Yeah, same idea.
But we're talking about a movie today because last week on Friday, we went to the movie theaters together and you made me sit in those horrible reclining chairs.
Oh, I'm sorry for giving you comfort and luxury. He wanted to sit in some scrunched up little chair and suffer for his art.
That's what you do. You suffer because you can't fit in a normal chair. You can't fit. Well, on that note, we went to the movie theaters last Friday.
Yeah.
And we saw 28 Years Later.
Hell yeah.
Which, if you don't know, if you watch this channel or if you listen to the podcast, Danny Boyle is like Mount Rushmore for me. Trainspotting is one of my probably, like if I had to do like a Letterboxd style top 4, like what are your top 4 movies of all time, I would put Trainspotting in there. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. I've seen it so many times. 28 Days Later as well. At one point, that was my favorite Danny Boyle movie, and then Trainspotting, kind of over the years, I've just come to love it more. But 28 Days Later is such an incredible movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies. It is my favorite zombie movie. And I think it's a hugely influential and important movie because it brought back zombie movies and like post-apocalyptic movies in a huge way. And now here we are. That movie came out 2002. So 23 years later, we have what is, as best I understand it, oh, and I should also mention that the 28 Days Later and 28 Years Later were both written by Alex Garland.
Yeah.
This is another thing that's important in my life because, as you may or may not know, I'm in the process right now of writing a novel. When I was 17 years old and I decided I wanted to be a writer and I was like, I'm going to write a novel someday and I want to be like, this is what I want to do with my life and stuff like that, it was because of Alex Garland. Because he wrote a book called The Beach, which Danny Boyle made into a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio in it. And that was like, that and Trainspotting were like my 2 favorite books in high school.
So those 2 hogs work together a lot.
Yeah, well, I don't think Alex Garland was involved in the making of the movie The Beach. But obviously he wrote the book.
Yeah.
I don't think he wrote the movie. But yeah, I mean, he was around, obviously. And then I think 28 Days Later was his first big screenplay. And obviously Alex Garland has gone on to make Ex Machina, Annihilation, Civil War. What was it? Warfare? Was that the movie? That
has a new movie?
He co-directed that.
I want to see that.
And that's very controversial, apparently, that movie.
I want to see it.
So Danny Boyle is the director. Danny Boyle won an Oscar for Slumdog Millionaire. Like he made the Steve Jobs movie that has Michael Fassbender and Kate Winslet in it. He's done TV, like he did the Sex Pistols TV show for Hulu, all kinds of stuff. And so this is the new movie, and it's the so I rewatched the first 2 over the weekend.
Oh wow.
I think that this one basically erases the second one. So I think that this is a direct continuation of 28 Days Later, and I think that 28 Weeks Later no longer
They're just like screw
is canon. If you want to, that's the Star Wars fans would say.
Yeah.
I don't think it really counts anymore because 28 Weeks Later, the setup of that movie. So if you don't know anything about any of these movies,
spoilers.
There is a virus called the Rage virus, and in this laboratory in Cambridge, they are infecting chimpanzees with the Rage virus to study what it does to them, essentially. And part of the Rage virus is they're having these chimpanzees watch television footage of like warfare, people rioting, people fighting with each other, like that kind of stuff. Right?
Which, here, let me
social
say
unrest.
something.
Yeah.
Why would you want to enrage a chimp or an ape or a monkey?
I think it's just going to like study the social effects of anger. No, I know. But
I'm just saying it's just like funny, like how all these movies start. They're like, let's infect these killing machines with a rage virus. And I'm like, yeah, what are you going to learn? That monkeys are violent? Cool.
I got you a present.
No, don't shit on, no, not the anus. Don't do it. I'll fire back.
It's like we're playing Battleship.
I'm going to do it on you then.
He's struggling to get one. That's not coming. You're gonna shit your pants.
I don't care.
You're gonna have a hernia. You're totally gonna have hernia.
I don't
so,
care.
So the monkeys they have the rage virus. They're enraged, and the rage virus is extremely contagious.
Oh, yeah.
A single drop of blood, a single drop of saliva in your eyes, your mouth, your ear, anywhere that gets into your body, and you're infected. And so in the first movie, immediately, essentially, like 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's quick.
In the first movie, these like animal rights activists break into this lab to free the chimpanzees. The lab guy comes in and is like, you cannot do this. Like, they're really dangerous. And they're like, fuck you. They let them free. The virus ravages England. And then the Cillian Murphy character, his name is Jim, wakes up from a coma. He's a bike messenger. He got hit by a car. He's in a coma. He wakes up from a coma. Hospital's empty. He goes outside, which is like, this is one of the greatest sequences.
That London sequence is awesome.
London is empty. And he's just walking around like, where the hell is everybody? And then eventually he runs into the infected, who are basically, they're not really zombies, right? Because they're not dead. They're infected human beings. They're not zombies in the George Romero sense that they're like
worse than zombies.
In 28 weeks later.
See, that movie I don't remember at all.
It's actually a lot better than I remember it being.
The opening is amazing.
And it's a very like post 9/11, like military state, kind of like U.S. military comes in and is like occupying and like that kind of thing. And Jeremy Renner's in it, which I had forgotten. Rose Byrne is in it. Idris Elba is in it. Imogen Poots is in it. Like Robert Carlyle. The cast is amazing. The beginning is incredible.
Yeah,
and there are some other scenes in that movie that are amazing, which we can talk about later if we feel like it. But in that movie, the setup is that the infected have all starved to death. And so they're repopulating Britain with like British people who either survived or were like abroad when it happened, right? This movie is obviously not in that continuum, right? Because they haven't starved to death.
Unless something else happened, right?
I mean, I guess theoretically you can say that the infected somehow found a way to feed themselves and then persisted for it. So 28 years later, takes place 28 years after the initial infection. And there's a bunch of people living on an island. This is a real place in England, this island. And the island has a causeway that connects it to the mainland, but when it's high tide, the causeway is buried under the water, right? So only during low tide can you cross to this island. So they've set up all these barricades with like bows and arrows and like, what is that giant thing that launches like the big metal arrows? What would you even call that? I don't even know. It's like a massive crossbow or something.
Ballista?
Yeah. So that they can launch. If there's in the event that the infected try to cross this causeway, right, they could shoot them down with arrows and stuff like that. But it's unlikely that they'll try to do that. So they're farming and they're living there. The cast is Aaron Taylor Johnson and Jodie Comer. Ray Fiennes is in it, and then Alfie Williams plays the kid, who's the main character. And so Jodie Comer plays the mom of the kid. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays the dad. Aaron Taylor Johnson is a hunter, right? So he goes on to the mainland.
Yeah.
And he hunts for food, and he also looks for stuff that he could bring back that would be useful, and he kills the infected.
Forager, right?
Yeah. The movie begins on the day when the kid is going to do his first, he's 12 years old. He's going to do his first trip to the mainland.
Yeah.
Now, the mom, there's something wrong with her.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't know what it is, but like her nose bleeds, her memory is terrible, she'll forget things, she has these like fits, these terrible headaches. The kid eventually learns that there may or may not be, but probably is, based on local lore, a doctor who's living on the mainland. But everyone is like, dude, this guy is insane. Like, he's totally crazy. You're not going to go and talk to him. He's not going to help your mom. He's not a rational human being. He's just a lunatic living out there on his own. But he decides, if I can get my mom to this guy, then he can fix her. And so that kind of is the plot of the movie in a nutshell. It's about him, his dad, his mom, and their life in this. And it's very much like a survivalist kind of like apocalyptic type movie.